Hey there, are you grieving the potential loss of a loved one or feeling overwhelmed with the loss of someone you care about? If so, you're in the right place. Lisa Hartung here, and this podcast is designed to guide you through topics surrounding death and dying. We'll dive into multifaceted aspects of grief, offering you a blend of personal stories, expert insights, and practical advice for your grief journey. May this be a safe space for you to learn, listen, and ask questions about your own life and loved ones. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Giving Grief Grace. Hope everyone is enjoying the spring, brighter days, flowers blooming. A fun little story. I was out for a run this weekend and I found a little tip of a daffodil that someone had mowed their lawn and the daffodil fell off. And I ran home with it in my hand and gave it to my daughter. And she was like, Mama, spring is here. And so I'm sending a little bit of cheer to all of you. Hope you are enjoying spring in your neck of the woods, sending love and light to you. So today's guest is Kelly Edmondson. She is a nurse, a grief counselor, and a bereaved mother. She's redefining how we support grieving families through Timely Presence, which is a company that she founded after experiencing the loss of her son. And Timely Presence sends heirloom quality gifts to grieving families throughout the first year after loss. And these gifts are delivered on emotionally significant days, such as holidays or birthdays or the day of passing. And these gifts just offer such heartfelt compassion moments, and it's a time in which people can feel supported and uplifted by the people who surround them and love them. So, Kelly, I'm so grateful for this conversation. She blended her clinical nursing experience, trauma nursing experience with walking this grief journey herself. And I'm so grateful to share about Timely Presence and have our listeners feel her love and support in her life. She is just such a blossoming flower in her own right. So without further ado, please welcome to the show, Kelly Edmondson. Kelly, this has been such a gift to be able to sit down and chat with you. Welcome officially to the show.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. I so appreciate the opportunity to share some of my experiences and insights into this grief space. It's a conversation that continues to be overdue, but resonates and is so important for the health and healing of the people we love.
Yeah. And Kelly, I would love for you to introduce your business, Timely Presence, and kind of share with us a little bit of your background and what Timely Presence is and how it came to fruition.
Yes. I am a nurse by background. So I have had the absolute honor and privilege to answer the call to nursing. I've been a nurse for 25 years.
Oh,
It sounds terrifying to say that number. Um, but I have just had the privilege of serving hundreds, probably thousands of patients and families in that time. I started my career in trauma ICU
mm,
and spent most of my clinical time in trauma ICU and ER. Have had the opportunity to see people at the work, experiencing the worst moments of their lives. Um, and also see people walk out of the doors who we never thought would. I'm so gift to be able to live on both sides of that human experience. I have taken my clinical experience and really took to that my love of working with people
mm.
and trying to get the best out of them and help them become the best they can be. So I now work in executive nurse leadership. In that role, I'm able to continue to serve patients, but also to help nurses grow and advance in their careers, improve the health and the communities they serve. So thankful for that. That somehow I think life is circular even when we don't know it.
Mm.
And so that time that I have spent with families dealing with difficult moments, tragic events, I always felt like I was gifted with that. I had a way of
Mm.
making people feel heard and supported that was probably a little unique. It always felt like a calling for me. And 3 years ago, I became that family when my oldest son tragically died of epilepsy in his sleep.
I'm so sorry.
And thank you. I thought I knew and understood grief, and then I lived it. Right. And so through that experience, I learned that I am surrounded and loved by amazing people, incredible family, phenomenal friends, and colleagues that are just out of this world, out of this world. But the journey is unknown to people. And so people who love me, although well intended, didn't always give what I needed along the way.
Yes.
And as a healer by nature and a fixer by design, I took my grief and decided to build something to help fill the gap for people who are living on this journey. And so timely presence is really the culmination, that experience. I became a certified grief counselor along the way and built this business, which I think is really a gift to people in grief, but also to the people who want to support and serve them better.
Yeah, Kelly, and oh, my heart is with you. And it's, as you said, it's one of those experiences you never think you're going to be in it until you
Mhm.
are. And then there's no roadmap. Even
That's
though you
right.
work in trauma and you have the experience of trauma nursing and
Mhm.
working with families and walking them through it, it hits so different when you walk
Mhm.
through it yourself, and also gives you a different perspective as you're walking through it, and then you're helping others on, once you return to work after grieving. Again, it gives you that holistic picture, almost like you said, the full circle. And so timely presence, it's such a helpful support,
Mhm.
right? Of it's a journey. And
Mhm.
so when a loved one passes away, you can purchase something through timely presence. And it's not just a one-time gift, there's a continuation here. So
Mhm.
I would love for you to share kind of how that, again, grief is non-linear, and
That's right.
someone passes away and there's flowers, there's casseroles,
Mhm.
and within that month. And then
Mhm.
after that, your friends and family might not know what to say,
That's
or
right.
maybe they've been like, oh, I already gave them my condolences, so let's return to normal life. But life is never going to be normal after such a significant loss. And so maybe you could share how timely presence really wraps, that heart and compassion into the experience of grieving.
That's right. You know, what we always say is grief outlives sympathy, and
Mm,
so should the support, right? And so in our business model, what we do is we walk that journey for the entire year
mm,
with your loved one. Most people aren't showing up because they don't want to. It's not because they don't care or they know. It's because life truly does go on, right? And so people get back into the busyness of their everyday world.
mm,
Meanwhile, your first wedding anniversary without your spouse appears. The first Christmas without a gift under the tree from your husband happens, and his first birthday comes. And what we know for sure from the research is that while the journey's ongoing and relatively unpredictable at times, there are emotionally charged days that we know in general are more distressing than others. And so those moments that are holidays or anniversaries that would typically be spent celebrating or recognizing one another. And so through timely presence, we show up on all of those milestone emotionally charged days. In my case, our legacy package is built for grieving parents.
mm.
And so on that journey through timely presence, we would show up on the child's birthday, we'd show up on Mother's Day and Father's Day, days people don't think about, but I lived through. I lived through the trauma of that first Mother's Day. So I know that first Christmas. and we show up on the anniversary of loss. And so our gifts come, they are heirloom quality. I say they are shelf ready. So they're not obvious grief gifts. They are gifts that say, Darius mattered. We're
Yeah.
thinking of you, but they add beauty to the environment that they're in. And so we take that journey through multiple different relationships where we show up on those tender days when support really matters the most.
And I just love the idea of having such meaningful expressions say,
Mhm.
hey, we're thinking of you,
That's right.
and they're still a part of your life and this journey. And by having a little memento, you can really think of them. And so I love that there are different packages that people can choose of which
Mhm.
makes the most sense for them. And I love the option to put the dates in.
Mhm. That's right.
That's just such a gift within itself. And you can think about that as someone, you're spreading your love and showing them your love throughout the year. It's like a hug, right?
That's exactly right. It's like a
And
hug.
and maybe you've forgotten that that comes around. And so it's so lovely to have that on the first year. And maybe you could share with our listeners a little bit about, I love that they're heirloom quality pieces. So
Mhm.
maybe you could share a little bit about them, the different types of pieces. And I was looking through, I was like, oh my gosh, I love the wind chimes are my favorite.
Yes,
So-
yes. So, absolute favorite gift that I received was a wind chime, right? And so, all of these gifts were really selected based on my experience and the experience of people that I know that had also had loss. We were very thoughtful for most of the adult packages, all packages except for the loss of an miscarriage or stillbirth. The first gift that arrives is an engraved wooden memory box, and so intentional, so intentional because right after the services, there are so many things. There are cards, there are photos, there are obituaries, and things that are important mementos for you, a preserved flower from the services, things that people just want to keep near, but safe and secure.
Yeah.
And so it's the first gift to arrive and has been wildly famous for us. And, people have really appreciated the timing of that gift.
Mm.
The wind chimes come on the birthday because I feel like that's the most intimate. I go out into my backyard and I sit and I just listen to it. We have a conversation, right? We talk. And some days I say, "You really want me to know something?"
Okay. Say hello, Darius.
But it's the intimacy of that to me, it's certainly the most interactive gift that we have.
Yeah.
And my neighbor lost her son, and when I was testing this idea, I
Mm.
began ghost gifting people.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I ghost gifted her on her departed husband's birthday with this wind chime. And he died 3 months after Darius. So I came home and she
Oh.
stopped me in the driveway and said, "Come over. I have to show you what someone gave me for Mike." And I went in and she goes, I climbed up on the ladder to hang it up. Now, this woman's in her late 70s. And I thought, oh boy, I'm a nurse. I'm a trauma nurse. This is not great. But she talked about how much peace that wind chime gave. It was such a difficult day.
Yeah.
And that wind chime just brought her so much peace. And in that moment, I said, I get it. This is it.
Mm.
This is doing what I hoped it would do.
Yeah.
And so, those come on the birthday for wedding anniversaries for a woman or Mother's Day. We send a beautiful arrangement of preserved roses.
Hmm.
They live about 5 years.
Wow.
And they're stunning. They're bright red for a wedding anniversary and a Tiffany blue. because that was Darius's favorite color.
Oh.
Uh, for a mother, both of a stillbirth or of a child, they would open that on Mother's Day. For the holiday season, a beautiful engraved votive candle holder.
That's so sweet.
And the idea is there's lights everywhere at this time of year, and that person was a light in your life. And so
Mm.
this candle holder is reflective of the light and love that you still share. And then our final gift that comes on the anniversary of loss is a beautiful 3D crystal photo keepsake. And
Mm.
so it is stunning. I have people who message me about these pieces, people who sleep with them because it looks like they're looking at you. They're stunning.
Ah.
And so every single gift has been so well received. But I would love to tell you the story about our Angel collection, which is for moms with miscarriage or stillbirth loss.
Yes, please
The
do.
first collection that we ever sold was to a woman whose boss had heard about our business and remembered that a year earlier her employee had had a stillbirth.
Mm.
And so she purchased this. The angel mom, received it on the anniversary of that date.
Mm.
And her feedback was that this was the darkest day I'd ever lived, right? Because for a stillbirth, no one remembers that baby. No one met that baby. The baby doesn't live on in the memories of others like it does for this mom who
Right.
carried her.
Mm.
So she walked out to her mailbox and she said, I had a package with a dove on it. And I came in and I opened it and I was standing near the window. And it's a sun catcher, a crystal sun catcher. And the light hit the sun catcher and a prism danced on my wall.
Mm.
And that darkest day became full of color and light in a moment. And I knew then that I wasn't alone on this
Mm.
journey. Chills,
Same.
chills.
Yes.
And so, every gift was just personally selected for the impact, for the milestone event that it's honoring. And, I continue to receive confirmation that we've chosen well. And so I am so grateful to be able to walk this journey with so many people from afar.
I mean, when I heard about the concept, I said,
Mhm,
this is brilliant.
mhm, mhm,
It's as we've both walked this path,
mhm,
it can feel so alone.
mhm,
And I love that you so thoughtfully chose things that would bring light to our lives here
mhm.
and just, have also a conversation starter,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
That's something that's, so heartfelt. My cousin passed away when he was 27 and was hit by a train, and it was very tragic. And my aunt wears a little pendant of his picture. The funeral parlor took a piece of his gravestone and etched his picture in the little piece of the marble. And so she wears that, and such a nice keepsake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about this, the crystal that you send with a 3D picture, and just how special it is to have
Mm-hmm.
that close by. And
Yeah,
they're smiling
beautiful.
in it, right? I mean, you get to
That's
choose
right.
which picture you
That's right.
have.
That's
They're,
right. That's right.
they're shining through, and you can put it in the
Mm-hmm.
window and you can
That's
see the light
exactly right.
reflected off of that. Like, oh my goodness. And it's so helpful. I'm very interested in many people who are maybe working in the healthcare field and they don't get a full month off to
Mm-hmm.
grieve. maybe they get a week off. Maybe they
Hmm.
get sometimes they only get 3 days.
Hmm.
And when you have such a significant loss,
Hmm.
I'd be interested to hear your experience as a professional and someone who has walked this journey. I know that the Timely Presence has some really good, helpful resources for
Hmm. Hmm.
listeners and for people that go to your website of how to have the conversation when someone
Yeah.
comes back to work. And
Yeah.
I just love your thoughts and feedback on how you create a soft, compassionate landing.
Yeah. I love that question. I refer to this as presence beyond policy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so right now we have a policy problem. Um, Most people have 3 to 5 days for the loss of a mother,
Hmm.
a sister, a spouse, a child. I am so fortunate in the amount of time that I was given to process and in the dogged approach that my leader took to understanding the journey. But I know that that is not typical. I know it's not typical. And so, some of the things that people routinely face, and I faced with maybe some ancillary colleagues in returning into work is either people say completely the wrong thing, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
completely the wrong thing. And there are wrong things to say, right? Things like, at least you have other children.
Oh,
Quotes.
thank
I had a friend who lost their child at 2. At least you had more years than that.
you.
Minimizing a loss is just never helpful, right? There's
Mhm.
there's there's never anything helpful about that. While most people, I think, are more skilled um, than that, there's still opportunity to know that you can't minimize a loss, and you certainly can't project the readiness to move on onto someone else. But perhaps worse, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is completely not acknowledging the loss at all.
Mm. And sometimes that's common because people don't know what to
They
say.
don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be a therapist. You don't need to be a grief counselor to just be human and say, I don't know what to say, but
Mm.
I'm sorry. I've been thinking of you. This is rough, right? And all of those things are true. Loss is rough, grief is rough. You don't, and sometimes when you have a collegial relationship with someone, you may not have all of the inputs to have a bunch of value added, intense conversations.
Yeah.
But presence means I'm just here. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of you.
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, I am here. It's enough. There's no need to rehearse that. What we do have to be prepared for, as at times that can evoke tears.
Emotions.
Uh, s- and the reality is, love and loss cost. And so, a tearful moment, you haven't reminded someone of their loss. They never forget it. It
Yeah. That's,
becomes a part of their DNA.
yep.
And allowing someone the space to step out of a room and come back when they're ready is okay. It's okay. It's in fact respectful. And so, we as a society have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's it's okay to be a little uncomfortable. What you are is human.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the first time I cried in the office of my male boss many years ago. And he just was like, he looked at me like a deer caught in headlights, and my grandma had just passed away. And,
Mhm.
it's, emotions are, I think we talk about them more today than we
Mhm.
have in the past, but there's
Mhm.
still, as you said, a long way to go
Mhm.
with how we do that. But yeah, just being compassionate, and
Mhm.
we're all humans and
Mhm.
everyone experiences grief differently.
That's right.
We experience it at different times. You never know when there's going to be a trigger.
That's right. And you can't solve it for someone else, right? That's
Yeah.
important to know too. What you can
Mm.
do is acknowledge it
Yeah.
and be present through it. There's no quick fix. It's been 6 weeks.
Mm,
There's no there's no ticker.
yeah.
Uh, it's patience.
And just being curious, right?
Mhm,
Of asking, what was your favorite memory?
mhm.
Or tell me about a time when,
That's exactly right. It's
you know,
exactly right.
keep telling the stories that
That's
bring
right.
such light. I'm curious, after you lost Darius and you thought of timely presence as
Mhm,
a concept, and then you went through grief counseling
mhm,
to get a better understanding of, hey,
mhm.
what's the other side and how do we do this in an appropriate way? Was there like a main takeaway that you had coming out of learning about grief counseling and after having experienced it and then looking at it from the clinical side?
Yeah. There were some interesting things that I learned as we're processes. So anticipatory grief, right? This
Mm,
this I
huge.
it's so huge and it exists and people who have, for your listeners, these are people who have a parent that was diagnosed with dementia and you are looking towards more loss, right? Loss that occurs over time. Maybe that isn't quite realized yet. But in my loss, at this point in life, Darius has friends who are getting married,
Oh,
who are having children, who are doing things that he does not have the opportunity to experience. And each of them is a tiny loss for us. I am so excited for his very best friend who just was married, purchased a home, and Darius was a realtor, so he took a framed picture of Darius to his closing because he said he absolutely would have been my guy.
yeah.
Right? Beautiful
So sweet.
and so sad.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Two things are true,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so this concept of anticipatory grief, the concept of disenfranchised grief, I had never thought of this. So, my son died from a seizure in his sleep, but people die from all types of things. We know there is an opiate epidemic in our
Mm,
country. People die from overdoses. People die from suicide. People die in many kinds of ways, and somehow, as a society, we place value on the life lost based on how it was lost. Not okay. And so, this idea that people who have lost their loved ones under different types of circumstances may need a different type of support and acknowledgement along the way. I
yeah.
learned things like people ask all the time, how did he die? And that's usually one of two things. A, it's protective. How does it not happen to me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How am I different? How can I not be you?
Yeah. Oh,
Um, and two is curiosity. Three is generally not, I'm caring about you. Right? It's generally not, that's generally not a care question.
yeah.
Uh, and so learning, his death was relatively benign. He had epilepsy, he died, but learning to help people to feel freed from responding to questions, inquisitions, requests that they don't want to,
Mm,
has really been something that the grief counseling has. You don't have to respond to every text. You
mm,
don't.
yeah. I think that that's something that so many people are
Mhm,
riddled with, and
mhm,
especially in this environment where we've got texts, we've got email, then we have social media platforms and messages in each of those platforms. And as you're grieving, it can be so overwhelming.
mhm, mhm,
And you have people from all different areas of your life wanting to reach out and so kind,
mhm.
but also do it like reach out knowing that you might not get a response. And
That's
that's
right.
now, having walked through it myself, I send a message and say, it's okay. Just know that I'm thinking of you. No need
That's
to
right.
respond.
That's
And that's
exactly right.
like, gives them the out. But,
It really does.
and I love that you called out the different types of passing,
Mm,
um, because I hadn't thought about how we respond differently to different types of death before.
mhm,
We have a gentleman that died by suicide in our community. We have a small community in Maine that I'm from, and it's just so tragic. And so supporting his family, it's much different because it's immediate. And, whereas my mom died of cancer and we knew for a
mhm,
year. And so
mhm,
that, again, that anticipatory grief, or if
mhm,
someone's, loved one has Alzheimer's and
mhm.
you lose them slowly over time. And so that's a different type of grief. And
That's right.
that's where I would suggest, if you're feeling grief, grief counselors are great.
That's exactly
Um,
right.
and also thinking about timely presence, and okay,
Mhm,
let's be intentional about
mhm.
how we can respond, when the time does come,
That's right.
in a really
That's right.
thoughtful way,
Mhm.
right?
Grief's complicated and complex. It really is. It really is. It's not one thing.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's not one thing.
Hmm.
And I found it's I love your spunk and your energy, and I think that that's something that's so important, that's hard to have when you're in it
Hmm.
and you're in the throes, is to think of, will I ever be happy again,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
so I think the gifts that timely presence brings is not light at the end of the tunnel, because again, it's always with you, it's part of your
That's
DNA,
right.
right? But the grief does change over time.
That's right. I call it hope on the horizon.
Oh,
Right.
I love that, Kelly.
Yeah.
Hope on the horizon. And
Right.
I talk to people who may have said, oh, well, mom died 20 years ago, and I used to cry during every anniversary. And now instead, I'm doing art and I'm doing something that she would like, and I'm smiling and I'm telling these stories, and I feel more joy. So,
Hmm.
hope on the horizon.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
You brought up something beautiful just now. Rituals matter.
Hmm.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do. And you can unintentionally make rituals that don't help. And
Mm.
so intentionally deciding that mom liked this.
Mhm.
This is how we'll spend her birthday. That Joey loved doing this. And so this is what we'll do on Father's Day. It matters because you begin to frame and craft how your energy will be spent on days that you know will
Mm.
be difficult. Darius's birthday's Christmas Day.
Oh,
Uh, right. So he was born a gift. Born a gift. Um, and so he was born on Christmas Day and he died January 3rd. So the entire holiday season has changed for us.
mhm.
Um, but how we've decided to manage that is we take a holiday. We take
Mm.
a vacation for the Christmas season. And I'm not at home realizing his absence is right. We are out. I typically take Ashes with me, so he's gonna travel the world.
Yes.
And I've created new meaning around it. So the discussion is, where are we taking Darius for his birthday this year? Right. Um, and it's changed the way we experience that time. And so you can't do that 2 weeks into the grief. You don't have capacity to do that.
Mm.
But over time, thinking about how you intentionally lean into changing those moments that are most difficult for you
Mm.
in a pattern,
Yeah,
really, really is advantageous. The rituals really do matter.
those rituals. And I really love how you said, okay, if I'm going to be experiencing such grief in this period of time, let's see, like, where would Darius want to go?
Mhm,
And then you bring
mhm.
him with you. And
That's right.
that's such a joyful perspective to an otherwise really challenging
Mhm,
and tough time.
mhm.
And, the days are short, light's
Right.
not very long. And
That's
so
right.
you then look forward to taking him to a special place that maybe was meaningful for you
That's
or for
right.
the family. And one thing, I also do that with my mom. I
Do
have her
you?
a little vial, and she's in my purse all the time. So if anyone ever
Mhm.
steals my purse, I'm like, good luck, you got a little mom in there. She's going on an adventure. And then if I'm ever in, she loved gardening. And so if there's ever a garden, I sprinkle a little bit of her ashes in the garden. She's in Monet's garden.
Oh,
Um,
oh, I love that.
and so it's just the physical presence of having the ashes with you. And if you don't have ashes, maybe it's, a shoelace or a hair clip
That's
or
right.
coins that were in their pocket or something
Hmm.
like that. And
That's
it's like a little talisman that you can carry with you. And then when you're not, it can go in the special keepsake box, right?
that's
And
exactly right.
I just love that. I have a friend that lost her brother, and it was in the wintertime, and we're from Maine, and
Mhm.
she plans a trip to a sunny place with a beach
I
because
love
of the
that.
anniversary of his passing. She's like,
Yes,
let's live it up, let's
that's
cheers to
right.
him,
Hmm.
and let's see some sunshine and happiness.
Hmm.
And so it makes an otherwise really tough time joyful, right? It brings
That's right.
hope on the
That's
horizon.
right. Hmm. Hmm.
So, yeah, where would Darius want to go this year? I love that.
Hmm. I'm thinking it's Costa Rica. That's what
Like, when do you start planning? Is it like when you get back and you're like, okay, new year, new
Mhm.
trip? Like,
Mhm. We usually plan on the trip. We plan what's next. And so, I live in Florida, but we too like tropical locations. And so we're always
wow.
thinking, what's warm with water.
What would he enjoy?
That's
And
exactly
then when
right.
you're on those trips, are you doing any activities that would resonate with him
Yeah.
or eating foods that he might
Yes.
like?
So we always have a birthday dinner. So we make a Christmas Day reservation for a birthday. And so, the restaurants bring cake and, we always celebrate him. But the day is really dedicated to stories about things he did he was a funny guy. He was a very funny guy. So, we laugh about him. We tell stories. My son, they were brothers. So sometimes he talks about how mad he made them and the fight they got in when they were in elementary school. And, we talk about his life.
Mm.
We talk about his life, and much of it is beautiful. All of it wasn't. He was a whole person, and we just like to experience him. And we talk a lot about how proud he would be of timely presence. This kid wanted to make such a dent in the world. He just was such tenacity. In fact, his college renamed an annual award after him after he died because of the legacy and impact that he left on the student and faculty body. And so we just talk about how proud he is of timely presence and how his legacy has the opportunity to impact the journey of people all over the country. It's just,
A ripple effect.
that's right. That's right.
And I'm sure it feels so nice for you to think of him every time a package is sent out and saying
Exactly right.
Darius's legacy lives on,
That's
and
exactly
I
right.
get to share his story and this transformation into something new.
That's
Right? It's
exactly
this
right.
regrowth, and yeah, I'm always thinking of new things that of like new gifts. My mother owned a boutique
Oh,
shop for 38 years in our small town. And so I'm always thinking of gifts. So timely presence was like, yes.
yeah.
Um, so meaningful. It's so special. I'm just so amazed and grateful that you came up with this. And was there a time in which it was like divine timing and things just kind of clicked? Or how did the beginning happen?
Yeah. So, very early into this, I'm a fixer, right? I'm a leader, I'm a fixer. I just am. And I looked at my sister. She reminds me of this all the time. She goes, "You have no memory of this. You were like living, right? You were in complete shock. And you said, I will find purpose in this death. I will find
Oh,
purpose." But Mother's Day, so 5 months after he died,
oh,
dark,
oh,
dark,
okay.
dark, because very much like when I found out, I was on a cruise ship when
Oh,
I found out he died.
can't get off a
So
cruise ship.
you can't get off. It was just after the new year. So I am surrounded by people. It was a party in purgatory, right? That's how there
God.
was I'm, everyone celebrating, and my husband and I are in this cabin stuck and
Um,
couldn't get off. And Mother's Day felt very much like that. So you
mm,
don't realize this. I've since spoken to many women who have had multiple miscarriages, who
oh,
feel like this on Mother's Day.
mm,
But there's not a store without a sign. There's not a day there's not a commercial, right? The world and being a mother is one of the greatest gifts of my life. I don't begrudge that, right? I think it's a beautiful thing. But when you're in this moment, there was an acute recognition that Mother's Day would never be the same for me.
yeah.
And so the day was dark. And then my mother, sister, and niece flew down from Ohio. My daughter and my son's girlfriend came over, and we spent the weekend talking about memorializing Darius and his life.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, everyone should have this.
Mm,
I'm not alone. People are not just acknowledging, but loving him right now.
hmm
And this has brought me light. And I thought, everyone should experience this. This moment happens to everyone on the journey. And it's difficult to predict when it's just going to happen on the second Tuesday of March, but I know it's going to happen on a birthday and I can put a plan around that. And so Timely Presence was really born from Mother's Day of 2023.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm,
You were in the throes of it
mhm.
and you said, how can I help others?
That's right. That's right.
Mm, and you're a fixer.
I will fix it.
And you're wanting to share Darius, like Darius was fun, happy, joyful.
That's exactly
You know, how do
right.
you give someone that gift?
That's exactly right.
And that is amazing.
Mhm,
Kelly,
mhm.
you are incredible. To have that such, how can I help others?
Mhm.
And so that they know that they're not alone.
That's right.
Because with trauma, right, the
Mhm.
biggest thing with trauma is if you're alone, right?
That's
When
exactly right.
there is community,
That's right.
there's dialogue,
That's
there's
exactly right.
physical presence.
That's exactly right. Presence matters. It doesn't even have to do anything. People don't even have to do, just awareness that I'm not alone
Mm,
can be a mind shifter for
mhm,
people, right?
mhm.
And genuinely, you know this. People want to support, but people are busy.
Yeah.
Right? You've got kids to get to soccer practice, emails to send out for that report that's due, you're cooking dinner for your husband, and your dog needs walked. Calling your friend on Father's Day to say, I
Mm,
know this is the tough first Father's Day without your dad, is not something that you don't want to do, but it's something that it's difficult to do. And so I wanted to find a way to make it easy,
yeah.
for you to show up in your life and theirs.
Yeah. You're right. Life gets in the way, or not in the
Mhm,
way, but you're living. Maybe you don't realize until 11 p.m. that this was a really hard day for your best friend. And how do the timely presence, you purchase something once and then okay,
mhm.
it's already scheduled to go out. For listeners who are interested in
Mhm.
purchasing this, where can they go?
Yes. So our website is thetimelypresence.com. Timely Presence is on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are the only thing with that name. So we are easy to find.
I love that.
A quick Google search is we're all down the timeline. So we are
Timely presence. I mean,
yeah,
it's so right. You are showing up when the
mhm,
person needs you most.
that's right. That's
And
right.
it's a question for you. When the gifts go out, is there for the giver, is there a memo that
Mhm.
says, "Hey, your gift went out today"?
There is. There is. So we send you an email that just reminds you. You're able to leave your text messages, your phone number, but the email's required. So we will send an email that just says, "Hey, Lisa's mom's birthday is Tuesday. The gift is shipped today." Just as a reminder, so that you know to stay in touch. So we've tried to be really intentional.
And like how it's a gifting service that does the work for you
Mhm,
and
mhm,
meaningful, right? It's such
mhm,
a heartfelt thing. It's such a gift that you can give to someone is even if you live on different coasts. This
mhm.
is still a, hey, I'm thinking of you. You're very much in my thoughts.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
I'm looking forward to seeing Timely Presence grow. And
Yes,
so, Kelly, is there anything else that Timely Presence does or is doing? There are resources on your website
that's right.
that people can, who are grieving or who are supporting others. They're just really helpful
Yes.
resources.
Yes.
Any other advice or anything that you would like to leave with?
Yeah, our blog always have helpful tips on there. Once a week, we will send out messages. We try to use social to really help with the healing journey. So every day we're sending something out about how you can manage your own grief or support someone else that's on the journey, including employers. And, it's an ecosystem.
It is.
Managing this is an ecosystem. But, the thing that I will say is, just show up. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have bows on what you do. You don't need to rehearse a script. Call a friend and say, I know things have been tough. I'm thinking about you.
Mm,
It matters. Many of us, we hope to all live long enough to experience grief.
mm, yeah.
Right, right. And so it's a part of life. And so if you haven't felt it yet, just wait. It's a part of what comes with living. And so show up for the people around you. Life is circular. You give what you will one day receive back. And so our job is to take care of one another while we're here walking the earth. And so I hope that we can contribute to people being able to do that in some form or fashion.
The presence, right?
Mhm,
And how
mhm.
did you come up with the name of Timely Presence?
Oh, I love it so much. I had another name that we were stuck on that I loved, and I don't even like it now. It was the memory box. And I hired an intellectual property attorney, and she said, there's 9,000 things named that. And I think you're going to have difficulty getting a trademark. And
Wow.
I was looking for a different attorney. It's my brand. It's my brand. I'm like Madonna. That's my name. Um, and she said, think about what you do. Maybe it should just be what you do, not a noun, what you do.
What you do.
And a dear friend who, by the way, you want to talk about presence. This person walked me through it all, through it
Um,
all. When we were going to the Virgin Islands for that first anniversary, that first Christmas, I left the ashes at home. I got on the plane, they shut the door, and I realized I left the ashes at hysterical. Hysterical.
I love Darius.
Take me back. Take me. I don't want to go on the trip, right? The trip has no value because this is, and I text my friend who went to my house and had the ashes overnighted to right flown to my hotel room.
Oh, So Darius could be present.
so Darius could be present.
Oh,
Uh, and that's the level of presence that she's had since the day that we found out.
mm,
And I thought about her, and she and I talked about this, and she said, she looked and she said, presence, presence.
presence, presence. Yeah.
And timely presence was really born out of a conversation with a person who's been more than a friend on this journey. And so it's very fitting, very fitting.
Fitting. And oh, I love
Mhm,
this. I
mhm.
love the whole concept, Kelly. You're such a light, and I am so grateful for your time and for, sharing Darius's story and his love and light and
Yeah,
joy
yeah.
with so many. And so for listeners, I will put everything in the show notes so links can go out for timely presence. Again, thank you so much, Kelly, for your time, and thank you, Darius, for
Yes.
giving your mom the opportunity to spread light in such a meaningful way.
Thank you for inviting us in.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Giving Grief Grace. It would be such a gift if you could share this episode with someone and brighten their day. You never know what will happen. Subscribe to get a weekly dose of positivity, and while you're at it, please leave a review. May you be kind to yourself in the week ahead and give yourself grace. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.